When the shadow is embraced, it can be healed. When it is healed, it turns into love. When you can live with all your opposite qualities, you will be living your total self as the wizard. It's impossible to be lonely. It's impossible to be lonely, Merlin repeated more firmly. Well, there are only two classes of beings you and I need to worry about in this matter, began Merlin. Wizards and mortals. It is impossible for mortals to be lonely because you have so many personalities fighting inside you. It is impossible for wizards to be lonely because they have no personality inside them at all. First, you must ask who this thing called myself is. As long as there is I and you, there will be a feeling of separation. And where there is separation, there must be isolation. What is loneliness but another name for isolation? When you look closely inside yourself, you will find there are many personalities competing for the use of your body. For example, the conflict between good and evil gives rise to two personalities called saint and sinner. These never quit arguing. The one side forever hoping to be good enough to satisfy God, the other forever feeling bad impulses that cannot always be restrained. Then there are the roles you identify with: child, parent, brother, sister, male, female, not to mention the work you do: doctor, lawyer, priest, child care provider, and so forth. Each of these has staked a claim inside you, shouting over the rest in order to put a narrow viewpoint forward. We haven't even touched on your sense of nationality and religious identity. These alone cause endless trouble. These personalities are usually in conflict. What we call happiness is a state in which much of this conflict has died down. When you were born, you didn't have this war going on because babies are not conflicted about their desires. There aren't voices of good and voices of evil, for example, until the baby is old enough to learn these concepts from its parents. You can't become a wizard until you think like a baby again, Merlin said. How does a baby think? Asked Arthur. By feeling, primarily. A baby feels when it is hungry or sleepy. When sensations are presented to it, a baby can feel whether they are bringing pleasure or pain, and it responds accordingly. A baby isn't inhibited about wanting pleasure and avoiding pain. Ending the war inside yourself means bringing the conflict among all your personalities to an end, and you can relieve the shadow self of its burden of held energies from the past, and thus create a condition for inner peace, since it is fear of being hurt that makes your inner voices mistrust one another. But you can't begin to resolve these inner tensions until you know what your inner personalities are made of. Personalities are always made of the same thing, some old energy attached to a memory. One of the most effective techniques for overcoming denial is, once again, to use the breath. Lie down in a quiet room and let yourself relax. Now take in a breath any way you like, shallow or deep, fast or slow. Then release it naturally. Don't use any rhythm or effort. Just let the breath go. You might find yourself sighing or gasping somewhat. That's all right. Now take in another breath and again simply let it go, neither forcing it out nor holding on.